Episode 145 of Seddy Bimco, America's foremost revenge-driven podcast, where we create revenge-themed sequels to movies that never had them.
It's because it's called Seddy Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. You forgot Revenge.
That's right. Did I not say that?
No. Sorry.
I'm George O'Connor.
I'm Tim Hamilton. We both draw pictures.
We both draw pictures for a living.
And this week, going to watch from South Dakota. Oh, because we're on a tour of the 50 states.
Of the 50 nifty United States, a regional film made in each of the 50 states. We're getting close to the end. The end of the tunnel's in sight. So representing South Dakota is Tim.
Beast from Haunted Cave, 1959. I think.
Yep.
Oh,
yes.
And every week we start with the age-old question about revenge.
Uh-huh.
They're getting better, George.
No, they're not.
Did the hairy, naked, hungover hippie who was just tripping in the woods ever get revenge on Patterson and Giblin for filming him just after he'd made love to a Sasquatch?
That's pretty good.
It's Seddy Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. The show where we create revenge sequels that nobody wanted.
It's Seddy Bimco, Part 2, The Revenge. As we said, we make revenge sequels to movies that never had them.
So you don't have to.
And this year, as we said, 1959, let's get this out of the way. 18 years before Star Wars changed the world.
Jesus Christ, 1959 is only 18 years before Star Wars?
That's true.
That's messed up. This movie feels like it was centuries before Star Wars.
It had a little bit of a creepy part, but we'll talk about that.
I'm spoilers. It's not as bad as what I expected.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Actually, it was worse than I expected.
Oh no! Oh no!
I just mean lots of skiing. There's lots of skiing.
Yes, it's in many ways a real return to form for a Tim Hamilton film.
Do you have anything to talk about before we talk about the state?
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah. I spent some time this week I decided I've been musing upon, you and I, we're always looking to improve our show.
You critique the show again.
I think what we're missing is we need a good feud.
Oh, okay. Good feud.
So we need somebody to fight with. And I was listening to Bat and Spider again.
Oh, no.
And I'm so struck by the difference in our two shows. You and I think bring
their show that they get along.
Well, they have such a laid back and laconic way of speaking, and they're just like
some episodes
man,
they just make love.
Is that true?
Yep.
I would believe
just
it.
Just go silent.
Yeah, just like you hear soft cooing noises in the background occasionally,
which is fine.
Yeah, it's good for them. You and I bring a kind of prickly, angry energy. Mm-hmm. We speak over each other a lot. We're trying hard. We're like sweaty, nervous comics.
I'm trying.
And those two guys are it's like they're just dropping gold while trying to stay awake. And I'm just like, how did they? And this is the thing, Tim. They get mail, so they're doing something we're not.
Well, I write them.
The episodes I listened to, you weren't one of the writers. Know who wrote them though? Occasional co-host probably stepping in for me next week when I'm away, Kevin Cablasto.
Yeah, he writes.
Yeah, he was on there. So, what are they doing? Are we bringing too much energy?
Probably.
Yeah, I think we need to have some sort of challenge with these guys where we reach out to them in advance. We watch the same movie and we drop it the same week. We kind of invite everybody, be like, hey, listen, see which one they like better. Do you like mine and Tim's sweaty, disparate energy? Or do you write Bat and Spider's is it nap time yet energy? Yeah, you heard me.
I thought you said we should feud more, you and me. Halfway through your whole talk, I got the point.
We feud plenty. We start off the show every time, where I'm already ready to fight with you because you always drop a turd of a age-old question up front. This time, surprise, it was actually kind of fun.
Thank you.
Yep. So we're coming at you, Bat and Spider. So, do you have anything you want to say before we go into South Dakota?
Yes.
Oh, let's hear
George, we missed out on a great opportunity. And I think we got to go back and do all the states again.
Wow.
The week we did Mississippi, you spoke about a strange law where you can drink in your car, but it didn't say whether the car could move or whatever.
You're allowed to drink beer specifically in your car.
And I thought, why didn't we look up all the strange laws in every state?
You're right.
And I did it for South Dakota. So I do want to start. These are real. I didn't make these up.
Okay.
Not a bit. It's illegal to fall asleep in a cheese factory in South Dakota. That's a real law.
I already suspect. I think Tim's lying.
No, George. Yep. These are real. Okay.
Why? What do you think happened? Do you think somebody got mixed into some Gouda? All right, let's hear some of your fake lies you made up.
In Huron, South Dakota, it was illegal to create static between 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. every day. This was because static could interfere with radio and television broadcast.
It could also make silos blow up.
Yep, and it makes your hair stand up.
Yep. And
is yours real? Wait, silos blow up?
Yeah, silos that have grain in it, if you have particulate matter in them, and this happens a lot, static electricity, it creates explosions. It turns out, like if you have like corn, or grain, and just like there's enough cloudy stuff, you have to be very careful because it will just explode with electricity.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, and the Fountain Inn in South Dakota has a law that prohibits horses from entering the fountains unless they are wearing pants. And again, that's true. I found that on the internet.
This could be true, folks. Yes, these are all very Tim Hamilton-y jokes. Folks, if you live in South Dakota and you listen to Seddy Bimco, which I'm going to say probably not, because South Dakota, pretty small places, it turns out. But if you do and you know that any of these are true, please write to us at Seddy Bimco with an E at the end at gmail.com.
Oddly enough, the horse doesn't have to wear underwear, which I think is kind of gross. But.
We know when you're a horse, the term is to piss like a racehorse, which means you have to piss with great speed and velocity. Probably, given the fact they don't have opposable thumbs, even taking down the pants is going to eat up precious moments of time.
And people like to watch that.
Yep. You know who likes to watch that, Tim?
Who?
Bat and Spider.
They do. Bat and Spider like to watch that.
Bunch of horse piss watchers. All right. So as you heard, we're talking about South Dakota. We heard a bunch of probably fake things about South Dakota.
You did not.
Here's some true things about South Dakota. Its capital is Pierre, named after Wayne LaPierre of the NRA.
Nice.
That part's not true.
Okay.
The largest city is Sioux Falls. The entire population of the entire state is 919,000 people.
Whoa.
Not even 1 million people in the entire state. That's like less people. Never mind, that's less people live in Brooklyn. That's less people live on my block.
Oh,
so, of course, Republican leadership all the way. You know it.
Yes.
Always is the case, yeah. This movie was set specifically in Deadwood. You maybe have heard of Deadwood. Famous place. Deadwood, this was stunning. The population of Deadwood in the 2020 census.
Uh-oh. Is it 300?
1,156 people.
Ooh.
That's it.
It's a small place.
That's like less people that live in my building, and I live in a brownstone.
That's true.
Let's see. More Dakota. Do you want to jump in with state flag and state seal?
Yes, George. Flags. The flag is okay.
Yes.
It's nice blue and yellow guy with a guy plowing a field. And there's some strange smokestacks on it. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I never look at it. I like your descriptions, and then I look them up after.
The seal is the same thing, only it's color, lazy again. But the smokestack is just a big black tube, and there's no factory. So I had to look up what it was, and it's smelting metals, which I know nothing about how that's done, but it's just one big fat smokestack with no factory. Smelting, it's called.
Smelting.
You know that?
Smelting. Yeah, I see the guy. Yeah, there's a big smokestack, like you said. It's weird because it's kind of like going for like a bucolic rural look with the guy and the horses in the front plowing, but then there is like belching smoke in the background.
Yep.
And then there is the motto, "Under God the people rule." Under God. All right. So as its name would indicate, South Dakota, that indicates there is a North Dakota, and there is. It's bisected by the Missouri River. It's just like Missouri. Why isn't the Dakota River? Who knows?
Fancy word, George.
Yep.
You a doctor?
What, bisected or
yes,
Missouri?
Bisected.
Okay. This is a true fact. South Dakota became a state on November 2nd, 1889, simultaneously with North Dakota. They are the 39th and 40th states admitted to the Union. But get this. President Benjamin Harrison shuffled the statehood papers before signing them so that no one could tell which one became a state first.
I was going to say.
So it always says it's the 39th and 40th and nobody knows. Benjamin Harrison, well done.
Really?
Benjamin Harrison, father of famed Beatle George Harrison.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of bad...
Father of the old switcheroo trick. Because he switcherooed those papers around.
Yeah, he is. The two are not mutually exclusive, Tim.
Why isn't it called the old Harrison trick?
Because he switched it around to Jim.
Yep.
Wow. And then, he did it with his son, too. His real son, Ringo Starr. He switched around Beatles. It's weird, too, because they're like 6 years apart in age. But let's see. It's the home to Mount Rushmore. Mm-hmm. It's the site of the Wounded Knee Massacre when 300 Lakota were killed by the U.S. Army in 1890. That sucks. It has more. They like to say this every time I typed in cool facts about Dakota. This one comes right up. Mm-hmm. It has more shoreline than the state of Florida. Wow. And you're like, what? I know. It's like, what? It's a fucking landlocked state. No, it's got a big lake. That's and because of the river and stuff, it's called Lake Oahe, which sounds like it should be in, I don't know, Hawaii. The largest motorcycle rally in the world is held there at Sturgis.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yep,
That's
12 motorcycles every year.
That's why you'd want to move there.
Turns out motorcycle rally is very small. That's why I want to go there. Yeah. And let's see. The first elevator, I always like to give the first elevator in South Dakota.
Was it in Deadwood?
No. It was actually, where was it? Oh, I had to copy this whole thing because, so I type into Google first elevator in South Dakota. And I'm so excited because like South Dakota State University has an entire article that comes up as the first thing called Grain Elevator History.
Oh, no.
Like, wow, you don't normally get this good. And it's written by staff. This is the entire article.
What?
I'm going to read it to you.
Oh,
it's one sentence.
Oh, okay.
In 1910, Bryant, had 7 elevator companies. Their combined storage capacity was 176,000 bushels of grain. The 1904 Grain Dealers Journal, page 168, mentions that the Jones and Metcalf Grain and Coal are having a 20,000 bushel elevator built by L.O. Hickok to replace the old building.
That's
the entirety.
That was not one sentence.
That's clearly AI bullshit.
But that wasn't a sentence.
It's nothing. It's
no.
It's
I'm
nothing.
saying, how many commas were there?
Man, in the first, in 1910, there's so many commas. Garbage sentence. The first streetcar, which was cutting legs off left and right, including Al Capps. Aberdeen, South Dakota, I haven't heard of that, launched in Thanksgiving Day 1910. Right away electric, too. They skipped the whole horse period.
Nice.
And this is my favorite fact. I always come up with the cryptid.
Nothing worse than horse period. Yes, the cryptid. Horses, that's our theme tonight. Decided. I guess so. They wearing pants.
There's no movie. There's no horses in the movie, unfortunately. Or will there be?
Or will there be?
So the cryptid is a horse wearing pants. No, it's a creature called the Taku-He Bigfoot. It's a special. And normally I don't do the Bigfoot. Yeah, which means big man in Lakota language. But this Bigfoot, who is seen throughout the 70s to the modern day, is wearing a top hat and a long coat.
What?
Yes, it's ridiculous.
And that's why this week started with a Sasquatch joke.
That's why, because you knew I was going to do that.
Yes, I knew.
Yeah. Not that you're obsessed with that's all my facts about South Dakota.
Ooh. Did you ever see Deadwood, the TV show? HBO?
Yes.
That was good.
I don't think I realized it was in South Dakota.
Yep. That's why Bat and Spider called their show Bat and Spider. They wanted to call it Deadwood.
Dead and Wood?
Yeah, no, just Deadwood.
Just Deadwood? That's a good joke, Tim. And if you know why Bat and Spider gets more mail than us, please write to us at Seddy Bimco at gmail.com.
There's a show called Dead Weight. They're like, well, we wanted to call ourselves that too. But
and then they were just going to do a show where there's nothing on the air at all. It's going to be called Dead Air. And they're like, nobody's listening. They'd still get more listens than us, though.
Wow, I like this war where you just diss us more than you diss them.
It's a one-way war.
So in this movie...
Should we talk about the movie? Yep. What's the movie called again?
The Beast from Haunted Cave. And I didn't know that Roger Corman had a brother, Gene Corman, who he produced this.
Yeah. And it was directed by a guy named Monty Hellman, who was the inventor of mayonnaise.
Come on, George.
It is. It really is Monty Hellman. The joke is...
I know.
Yep.
So...
should we say who Roger Corman is? Do we assume our listeners know who Roger Corman is?
They know. If you don't know, go home and don't write us.
Oh.
Go watch Bat and Spider.
Tim, we were so close to actually getting a piece of mail for once. They already are listening to Bat and Spider. Here's what happens. Each week there's this contest. Like, which one am I going to listen to? And they come on and our nervous energy and your turd joke right up front and me yelling out what episode it is. They're like, I don't want to hear this. They turn it right off and they listen to the cool rambling styles of Bat and Spider.
If they don't know who Roger Corman is, they go to kindergarten. They watch Bat and Spider. They learn all that. Then they go to college to hear Seddy Bimco because they know all this lingo.
You're saying in our war, we've just thrown down the gauntlet. Bat and Spider's remedial.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why they're always so laid back, because it's right before nap time. And they get their cookies and there's... Man, we are fighting so hard.
We're never going to get to
I love that this is so on and like they're never going to hear about this.
So,
can you read a description of what this movie, Beast from Haunted Cave, is?
Well, some gangsters from Chicago plan to rob the payroll in Deadwood, and they run off with the money, but unknowingly hunted by a beast from a haunted cave.
That's a terrible description. Is that the official one? That's terrible. Yes. There's no payroll. It doesn't mention anything about the skiing.
George, they rob the payroll. They walk into the building.
They steal gold bars.
But it's the payroll. It's Deadwood.
Oh, it's not payroll.
They dig up gold bars in Deadwood.
Tim.
And they pay people with it.
All right. Bat and Spider, if you're listening, can I join your podcast? I'll bring this angry energy. You want this.
Let me describe it. Mm-hmm. We got Gil Jackson's our hero. Let me just describe the people. That's all you need to know.
Yep.
Gil Jackson, ski instructor, our hero. The rest of the characters are gangsters. We got Boss Man, who I think is Charlie.
I just called him Mustache the whole time.
His girlfriend, they call Gypsy.
I called her Drunk.
Marty, the head, tough guy for the gangster. Marty.
Did you see that he is played by Frank Sinatra's cousin?
Yep.
So I call him Frank Sinatra's cousin.
And two goons. I just call one Goofus guy, and I think the other guy dies. I don't know. They're just two Goofus guys. They're like the Otis of Superman. What?
Right, we have it. We have to have our fight.
These two guys.
Tim, there's that. All right, so there's Mustache Guy. There's
leader.
His drunk girlfriend. Mm-hmm. There's Gil Jackson, who's our hero.
There's Marty.
There's Marty.
Richard Sinatra.
And then there's one other guy.
Oh, no, I thought it was two other guys.
I can see it because, like, this movie, it doesn't do the greatest job establishing characters.
No.
Yeah, there's another guy who wears like a weird German Oompa Loompa band hat, and he's
Otis.
Maybe something's wrong with him.
Are we going to Addis Ababa, Mr. Luthor? He's that guy.
You got to learn a new Otis line from Superman.
That's my favorite line in Superman. That's my favorite line.
But he's like the guy who's like this guy. Although he's a bit less inept than Otis, because like later he does show a bit of a killer instinct.
Yes. But he's like, oh, boss, hot dogs for lunch? All we can eat? He's that guy. Oh, Lynn Nanette Alstrand.
Who's that?
She plays the barmaid in this
Playboy
movie.
Model. Yep.
She was an actual Playmate of the Month in the July 1958 issue of Playboy.
Did you find her actual stuff? Are you going to make this up? Is this a future list?
I happened upon her picture, but it didn't give her her questions. No questions. That was back when they were all demure. So,
you mean demure, like with the Riz,
with covering
and the cringe and all the cool
cute.
stuff?
Like, oop, you can't see this.
Huh.
Yeah, I just was like, an actual. She's Natalie, the barmaid. Oh,
yeah.
George, this movie, it took 13 days to shoot. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw that. Yeah.
That's often how many days it takes Bat and Spider to record one episode of Bat and Spider.
Yeah, take that, Bat and Spider. It's amazing that they get them on a weekly basis. They just have like 4 or 5 episodes going at once, I guess.
Yes.
I will say, like, there is this movie. It was also made for something incredibly inexpensive, like an estimated budget of like $33,000 or something.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of good in a way.
It's restored on Tubi, so at least it looks okay.
Did you see that there's so many versions of this movie too?
I did read those.
I wanted
longer.
to do. I didn't read this until after. So originally the movie was quite short. I think that's what you and I watched.
I hope.
But there was a deal that what's his name, Corman, made for this and like 3 other of his films to be aired on TV, and they needed to be bumped up from the 61 minutes they are now, or like 71 minutes to like 80. So he hired this guy Hellman again to film all these brand new scenes for all these movies.
Wow.
So apparently there's like an additional like 15 minutes of just shit that was interspersed in this that like I kind of want to find that.
Were
version.
they all shemps, as they're called? Like from the back.
The only bit I said, it probably was fake shemps. He said he got whatever actors were still alive and around and filmed whatever.
Yeah, like more skiing.
I imagine a lot more skiing, probably a lot more scenes in that janky bar. Yeah, I mean, what else could they have put in? Like anything that was happening in the haunted cave, they would never have done that part again.
Well, hopefully we can get through chunks of the plot fast. We start with some cool jazz music, and there's 2 guys taking pictures in town.
Which, and they no idea why that's happening.
No. Well, you realize later they're taking pictures of the payroll, George. I guess we're going to have to fight about this, but they robbed a payroll. We're
going to have to really fight because they steal gold bars.
It's in the payroll.
So unless you're saying who's working there?
Nobody, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. So why are you saying payroll, Tim?
That's
Do you understand what payroll
said.
is?
The building said that.
The building that said bank says payroll in your head? Okay.
No.
All right.
It said payroll.
No.
So
okay.
They go to ski lodge. They're in a hurry. They like get out and they run around to the ski area and ski.
It really is. And like, I thought we were going to watch a real Hamilboner film. Yeah. It was like, it was really bad sound quality.
Oh, yeah.
Endless shots of mundane tasks like driving and
organ
eventually
music.
Skiing. Yeah. Weird music.
So we get lots of credits while they ride on the ski lift. They thank the people of South Dakota in the credits.
All like 3,000 of them.
Did you ever ski, George?
Yeah.
Okay. I skied once, one day.
I skied maybe 2 days. I did not enjoy it.
Oh, I kind of liked it, but it's a lot of work to get back up there. And
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of equipment involved. I remember, I didn't ski until I was like an adult. I was like in college age, and I went away with like my family did a ski trip. My father had recently remarried, and so they had like a house. She had a house in on a mountain.
Whoa.
So we went there, and it was kind of terrifying.
Yep.
I remember people like just who knew even less than me how to ski, just shooting sideways down the hill, and like me having to dodge. And like I remember having to really eat shit one time to like avoid crashing into a kid.
Oh. I skied once, but it wasn't like a disaster like that.
No,
and I wore my ski pass on my coat for like a year, and then I saw that episode of Seinfeld where Jerry makes fun of George for wearing his ski pass for years after he went skiing. And I was like, I've been found out.
I definitely remember kids in high school doing that. I'm like, why would you still have that? It'd be this beat up ratty piece of wire and paper.
Proves I'm a man.
I skied. I hurled myself down a mountain on planks of plexiglass.
So it's 10 a.m. and we already hear that this lady Gypsy, who's the girlfriend of our head gangster, she's drinking martinis.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend, boss man, all he says is, "Can't you shut up? Shut your trap. Gotta shut your trap again." That's all he says to her, like the whole movie.
Yeah, they're like, so basically, just to set it up, the gangster types who are apparently from Chicago, according to Tim's thing.
Yeah.
It's the mustache guy, the 2 goons, and Gypsy the drunk. And they are getting taught how to ski cross country by our hero, Gil Jackson. Gil doesn't know what their plan is, but their plan, which is revealed, is they're going to rob gold bars. Gold bars. Apparently people in this town get paid so well. They get paid in actual hunks of valuable metal. And then they're going to cross-country ski in order to escape any cordon that would happen from this thing. And then to like a cabin, and then an airplane would pick them up. It's like the perfect crime. Gil is unaware.
Crime.
The perfect crime.
And it's called Happiness Lodge. Got to get that out.
Is it? I didn't catch that.
Yep.
But at this point, we don't know that. All we know is that the mustache guy is skiing, and they're watching him. The 2 goons are somewhere else because they were the ones taking photos. Yeah.
It's like, ooh,
and
nice
and Gypsy is drunk, and she's she's doing a pretty good job acting drunk.
Yes.
And she the sound quality being what it was, I don't know a single thing she says to the first half
she
of the
said
movie.
a few things, and I had the captions on, but it was garbled.
Yeah, I mean the caption on Tubi is just garbage.
Yeah.
And so they're waiting for these two guys, Mr. Smith and Mr. Jones, which I wrote down at this point, not realizing they're obviously pseudonyms. I'm like, oh, good screenplay.
Because they meet Gil, and he's the new ski teacher.
Yep. Oh, he's not new. He's been there his whole life.
That's right. He's there new.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, well, they're just in town for these couple days learning how to ski so they could get to their escape route.
And Marty meets Jill, a new ski teacher, because she has nothing to do with the movie. She's not Natalie the barmaid, right?
Nope, no, she's not. She's Gil's sister. She's just in this one scene.
They have the most boring conversation.
Yeah.
He meets her.
She has a dog.
Yes.
Cute dog. You know what, Tim? That dog's dead now.
Well, dog.
Bat and spider.
That dog was there for a reason. Corman. He was going to make a spin-off TV show called Ski Paw Patrol. 2 dogs and a cat. They would ski and help kids who fell down the bunny slope. Oh. I'm just telling you. But the dogs would just lick the kids' faces, and the cats would run home and use the litter box.
There's cats now, too?
Yeah, a cat and 2 dogs. Yep. Did you write down the conversation?
I wrote they talk about painting and smoking. It was just banal. I was just like, oh.
She's afraid to paint because what if she's bad at it? So she likes.
She's bad at it.
She likes to, she does. I think this was code back in '50s. She said, "I like to do things with my hands." She says it like that.
And then she does the jerk off gesture and looks at the camera and winks.
Yes.
And she's having this conversation this whole time with the guy who's Frank Sinatra's cousin, who I enjoyed.
Yeah,
he was perhaps my favorite character in this movie.
But how old do you think he was? I forgot to look this up.
They say the age. I think he claims he's 30.
No,
here, right?
no, he said 27 to her.
27.
When he's talking to her, she's like, "How old do you think I am?" And he's like, 19. And then he's like, "How old do you think I am?"
No, he says 20, 19. He keeps going down. I'm like, ugh.
But he said he was 27. I don't think he looks.
He may have been, because back in the day, like we've talked about this, people looked like ass. So that might have been what a 27-year-old looked like then. She looked older than 20. He looked older than 50. Gil does mention in the scene where that he says there's a cougar been on a rampage nearby.
No, never amounts to anything.
Well, but it comes up a few times. I did write, I bet it's the beast.
But George, did you catch that he is going to give Jill...
Who's he?
Marty's going to give Jill's brother a quarter to go to the movies to get rid of him so they can make out.
I didn't catch that.
Oh, no. Cost a quarter. Uh-oh.
I missed a currency corner.
You lose.
Now people are really turning off.
It only costs a quarter to listen to Bat and Spider, but to listen to us, it costs $5.
Wait, is that true?
Yep.
That also explains why we've been listeners.
Gypsy's in a bathtub.
Yep.
All bubbles. She's singing Home on the Range.
Oh, so off key and with weird lyrics.
Boss man tells her he's going to shut her up again.
I remember the line is, she just give me a home or the weightlifter's room. No, seriously. No, the bodybuilder's room. She likes muscly men.
Well, she's out of luck in this movie. Although Gil never takes his shirt off. Gil is the most boring man in the world. We'll get to that, but people. Gil, our hero. He's so boring. He smokes a pipe all the time. I would say
a little bit better looking than what I normally expect to see in these 1950s movies. Normally the guys are like they're just white hunks of wood with like thick lips and just they act turgidly. This guy, I'm like, okay, I could see his charm.
But
he is very boring.
You looked hard.
Yeah. Well, I was just enjoying this movie more than I expected. Here's where we hear a bit more of the plan. So what is going to happen is Mustache Guy is going to send Marty to blow up a mine that is nearby. Mm-hmm. And this mine is going to cause a distraction while they rob the gold bars that are apparently used as payroll. And then they're going to escape. So we hear it. And they kind of mentioned that like maybe a lot of people are going to die, but they're like, who cares? Money.
Why would people die? It's an abandoned mine, by the way, people.
Well, somebody does die.
I know, but it was abandoned.
There's a guard. Yeah. I actually thought at this point, like maybe it's going to create like an avalanche that buried the resort.
That's what I thought.
And that was because that would have been a good distraction.
Yep.
But no, just one guy gets fucking atomized.
It's going to go off at 9 a.m. They're very likely.
9 a.m. Yep.
Gil is a ski guide. The next day, there's not much of a plot. He smokes a pipe. They go to a bar. Is this where they go to a bar?
No, because first Gil comes in and he goes, "Hey, mustache, I need $20 for supplies."
Oh, that's
Tim,
right.
hit the music.
Is that Marty? That's Marty, right?
No, that was Gil.
Okay. All right. I forgot.
I think maybe actually Tim.
He acted like the goofy guy.
You might be right. Wait, is Marty the goofy guy?
This is 1950s. They're all white people.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna say we go with the naming convention I did.
Marty's the guy you like.
Frank Sinatra's cousin.
It's Frank Sinatra's cousin. He's like a hunky guy.
And then there's head injury guy.
Yes.
Okay. And then there's Gil, who's our hero, who's the hunky guy.
I can't remember if he took the $20. That's all.
Somebody comes in wanting money for it's $20. Tim. George's current currency Kerner. Yeah. What is the spending power today in current currency Kerner of $20? Remember, this movie is 1959, 18 years before Star Wars, you said?
$20 today, yeah. $20 will buy you...
You get so nervous.
Buy you an app that blocks anything related to Bat and Spider from coming up in your favorites on your computer. It's
weird that somebody would make an app for that. Right. It's actually pretty easy just not to hear mentions of them.
$50, I say.
$215.59. This has been your episode of George's Current Currency Kerner.
Then we go to a bar because there's a piano.
Before that, we should mention that. Oh, it is because this Gil comes in because he's surprised because then Gypsy comes out in her towel and there's like you can see like she's into him. She's been like underneath this towel, I'm completely wet and soapy and naked and drunk.
Gypsy's into our hero Gil, and Boss Man is getting jealous.
Yeah, even though he treats her like shit, but then she's like, he keeps calling her, she's my secretary. I have a mustache.
So they're at the bar.
Shittiest bar I've ever seen.
And Natalie's our barmaid.
Uh-huh.
She likes Marty, the Frank Sinatra
I'll be
cousin.
honest, I don't even remember seeing her in this scene.
Yeah, she just is there. They're like, she says hi.
She must be in the background or something, yeah.
Yeah, you don't see her much. Gypsy wants to dance.
She dances.
Pointless talking.
We're still learning the characters here. Gypsy's dancing with Gil. Mm-hmm. The mustache guy is staring off jealously.
He's in the background.
And meanwhile, I love that shot. I was like, it's great. And then as this is happening, and then the guy with the head injury is doing head injury stuff at the bar, acting silly. But then Frank Sinatra's cousin and the Playboy model barmaid go off to the mine to plant explosives. He's showing off. He pulls out his gun. He's firing it up. Like, why are you doing this?
Yep.
He goes into the mine
with Natalie.
He sees something. She waits at the entrance, kind of. He's in there deeper because he doesn't want her to see him planting explosives. Though one would imagine she'd figure out what happened the next day. But anyway,
yeah,
he's looking at something that I couldn't identify. I'm like, what is that? And reveal later he's seeing shards of an egg, but you can't tell what this is.
I never.
But you kind of see there's playing spooky music and stuff, and you see her standing there looking all pretty, and then something comes up behind her and scares her, and is it the monster? Nah, it's just
Marty,
Frank Sinatra's cousin, and they start making out, and then this weird webby tentacle thing appears, and she screams, and scene ends. I'm like, what?
Yep.
What? And I say webby, it's like. I couldn't tell what that was. It looked like it was solid smoke. I'm like, what is that supposed to
be? It was gauze they painted on. I read about it.
Yeah, I heard about the special effects thing. It was pretty grim. Effects. I mean, all things. I thought the monster was kind of cool. We'll talk about that. But, all right.
Oh, she does say, "Why do you have a gun?" He says, "It's to shoot cougars." They're obsessed with cougars.
There's a lot of off-screen cougar action in this.
I only date ladies who are 19. I see older ladies. I just shoot them. Shoot those cougars. Right?
Whoa, wait. Is this a little bit insight into Tim's dating life?
It's a bad joke because cougars are supposed to be hot older women.
Oh, you're right. They're hot old ladies.
Yeah. Marty comes back and he's all nuts and he's having a meltdown and Boss Man's like, "What's going on?" and slaps him, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, Frank Sinatra's cousin comes back. So at the bar, Mustache is still staring at Gypsy, mad. Frank Sinatra's cousin comes back in with no Natalie, and he says, "He killed that girl." And Mustache takes him in the back room and just smacks the shit out of him. It's such a good smack. Yes. He flies against the wall and sticks to it and grips it and falls down. And they're like, maybe the cougar got her.
Just a fucking cougar.
And Marty, Frank Sinatra's cousin, goes, "It was a no cougar." And then the scene ends. And it's 9:00 in the morning, and we see a guy who I thought was Marty, but just another 1950s looking fuck with his flashlight looking at the same cave that we saw just a second ago. He finds the bomb, and then the screen goes white. I'm like, oh, that guy got blown up. Mine blows up at 9, killing some guy. In town, Mustache and company hear alarm. They're in a car. They're like, it's starting. They rob a bank while cops race to the mountain, I guess. The drunk is skiing with Gil. She's either hitting on him or trying to seduce him. He calls her all used up, which I thought was very mean. Yep.
Because
and then suddenly,
Well, just to let people know what's happening, because they're going to ski out to a lodge in the middle of the woods and get away with the gold after it's robbed.
Yep.
They'll get away.
Yep. The payroll.
Did you ever ski, George?
Tim.
I have.
Wait.
But this movie has a lot of skiing. This is my segue. I'm ramming it in here. This movie has a lot of skiing, so I looked up some skiing terms. You know, they have cool skiing terms, like, I'm not making this up.
I think you are.
Twat gap. I'm reporting the news. That's when the top of your Google does not meet the rim of your helmet, and they know you're a newbie because your forehead's going to get frozen, and they call it a twat gap.
Is a Google a ski thing?
A goggle. Sorry.
Oh boy!
When
it's
the
like
top of your goggles
incident.
do not meet the rim of your helmet, leaving a large gap exposed.
Twat gap, huh?
Yep. And
kind of blue for you, Tim. Looking this one up.
There's bombing. That's when you fly down the ski slopes at breakneck speed. Well, George, here's some other ones you may not have heard of. Okay. Let's get to it.
Oh boy.
Hey, no snoring yet.
Wait.
So there's a term called the Elvis.
Is that when you die in a toilet while skiing?
Nope, that's when you keep a hot dog in your pocket in case you get hungry while you're skiing and it flails around in your pants while you go down the slope. There's
I like the idea of a hot dog flailing about in your pants. Some small young child is like, "Daddy, what's wrong with the man?" And Dad's like, "Never look at that man again."
No, he says that's the Elvis.
That's the Elvis. He's Elvising.
Don't ever do that, son.
Yeah.
There's chili chowder. That's when there's frozen vomit on the slopes. You got to watch out for it.
Gross.
There's the hairy, scary bush. That's when you ski into the forest and you get killed by Sasquatch.
Oh, okay. Which we've actually seen in other movies. Remember the Snow Beast?
Yes. See?
Yeah.
There's the doggy style. That's when you rent a ski helmet that's infested with fleas. And kitty cat style. That's when you rent a litter box that's infested with Toxoplasma gondii.
Or toxoplasmosis, as it might be called.
Toxoplasma gondii is how I read it.
Really, Gandhi? Like the
toxoplasmosis? Okay, maybe I was reading about a different.
Maybe Gandhi is the name of the virus, and plasmosis is the condition it causes.
Maybe.
If you know, write to us at batandspider@gmail.com.
Well, they're infested with it over at Bat and Spider, so you should call us up. Tell us how you deal with it.
Those guys are crawling with vermin.
So
endless shots of cross-country skiing. We do occasionally see a tentacle or something in the foreground. I honestly can't tell if it's supposed to be the beast or if it's just like the camera person just kind of drifting into view.
I do want to say when they robbed the payroll, they could only take 2 bars each to carry these heavy gold bars. And
that's not even the full payroll.
Goofy guy was like, "Oh, no more, boss. Come on. Can we take another one?" Anyway.
I could go to Addis Ababa.
Yeah. He was that kind of guy.
So they've been skiing all day, we learn, after this big montage of skiing. They set up camp, and one of the characters, who I think is maybe Sinatra, but might be Mustache, or maybe it's Gil, or maybe it's the guy with the head injury. I could tell it's not Gypsy, says that they were being followed. They could feel it.
I think that's it's either Marty or Gil. They're the
and
only
Sinatra's cousin is like, "I think it's the monster." And they're like, "Okay, cuckoo bananas, you stand guard first."
But here's George, I don't know if you've ever been camping ever, but if you camp in the winter, they just like lay down in the snow.
They lay down in the fucking snow. There's no cover.
All night.
They're not even under a tree. They're just like in the middle of like just a pile of snow.
And aren't they worried about the cougar? Come on, out in the middle.
Well, they are, I guess. So they quote unquote set up camp, which just means laying in a snowdrift.
Yes.
And Sinatra's standing guard. They're all sleeping. We hear these weird noises. At first, it's like a moose with asthma or something, and then we hear like a woman moaning, and it's kind of like a sexual thing. I'm like, what are we gonna see in this movie? It's like,
yeah.
And he walks an indeterminate distance away from the quote unquote camp, and it's Natalie in a web.
In a tree.
The barmaid. In a tree.
It made me think of Aliens, where they webbed up the people. And...
It's absolutely Aliens, yes.
It was creepy.
And it looks kind of freaky, yeah. Like she has like bags under her eyes, and she looks almost spectral. I was like, oh, is this the part you were talking about was the scary bit?
Yeah, it's kind of spooky. The droopy eyes, and the spectral. It reminded me of when I see pictures of Bat and Spider, the hosts on Bat and Spider. So
you know what's awful? Someone, because we do have a couple of listeners. You, me, Kevin Cablasto, presumably. He's going to tell them. They're going to listen to this. Our numbers will double, but they're going to hear this, and they'll be like, do we have anything to worry about these guys?
No.
And the answer is no. No, you do not. And if you feel they have anything to worry about us, write us at Seddy Bimco with an E at the end at gmail.com. He starts firing like a maniac. I thought maybe he killed her, but he's shooting at something, and he runs back to camp. And you get the impression he didn't go that far.
No.
Because they're all like, what's going on? He's like, nothing. And they just like, nobody, I don't know. I'm just saying, I have multiple gold bars on my person. Gil doesn't know this, but everyone else does. The guy who's been with you, who's on guard, is firing guns randomly and runs back screaming. And he's like, nothing. I'm like, no, asshole. You're going to tell me what happened.
Why didn't he say cougar? A cougar? Come on.
He should have said cougar.
I do want to say, George, I want to just back up a little bit. They did, when they were waiting for the others, Gil and Gypsy, they kind of got to know each other. I want to say it was the only legitimately kind of sexy scene in the movie. They're sitting together alone, and he brings out a cigarette to smoke, or she does, and she
eats the cigarette.
Yeah. Then she puts it in his mouth, and then he twirls it around and ties it in a knot and puts it in her mouth. But they did do.
They make baby bird noises as they do it.
But there's so much cigarette smoking in this movie because it's 1959. And
I don't even know if that needs to be mentioned. That just goes. It's 1959. You know, everybody's just got emphysema.
I saw some of the brands they used in this that aren't around anymore. Did you see them?
Tim, is this a list?
No, I'm just saying. Like I saw.
Is this a list, Tim? Tim's doing a list, everybody.
I saw the brand called
America's foremost list-based humor podcast. No, I didn't do any lists this week.
Well, this is the top cigarette brands in 1957.
Let's hear them. Let's hear it. This is definitely not a list. Let's hear these lists.
Lucky Patriot.
Okay.
Old Lung Tar.
Yar.
And Radium 226.
Only three?
Yes, only three.
Okay.
We got a lot of 50s stuff to do. Because 50s was the age of no regulation that we're going back into, and they just put chemicals, plastic, and everything.
Back into.
Yes.
Make America great again. Here we come.
Radioactive paint on toys. You know, that was the 50s.
Good times.
People.
Good times.
This is historic. You learn about history on this show.
You do.
What do you learn on Bat and Spider? Just how to tie your shoe.
Oh, more of the.
So, Gypsy's bragging about being alcoholic. That's why she can sleep in the snow. She has antifreeze in her veins. Which again,
my blood has no water in it.
You do not get drunk and lay down in the cold. That's like the opposite of what you should do. Right,
unless
right,
one
George?
of those St. Bernards comes. Yes, Tim. Wait, is this yes and Tim?
No, I'm just talking about that time I found you laying down.
Oh, that time I was drunk. But I was also naked that time, so that was okay. I wrote a note here I don't understand. I wrote breakfast, other guys may be mentally challenged.
Because you're thinking a goofy guy. At one point, well, we don't want to get there yet because I want to explain some things. But yeah, he seems to have a hard time cooking.
Okay, and then so they're still outside though.
Yeah.
And Gil finds weird tracks. He's like, I've never seen anything like this.
They don't show us.
And they're like, is this what you shot? They kind of do, but they look like shit. And they go to Frank Sinatra's cousin, and they're like, is this what you saw when you're firing me? He's like, I'm not saying nothing. And they finally get to this cabin, and there's like a housekeeper there.
Oh, the racism, yes. Because goofy guy runs out going, oh no, Geronimo, gonna get scalped. All this stuff. Well, you didn't hear that? Oh,
no,
yeah.
because later on he falls in love with her.
I know. So it's
as a trigger warning,
Okay.
they call her. They use the squaw word a lot. It's good.
Yes, but her name is Small Dove.
Is it really?
Yeah. And
I'm just gonna jump in. If she was actually a dove that size, she'd be a huge dove.
Yep.
She's the largest dove I've ever seen, perhaps.
Yep. Later in the movie, he says, "I love that big squaw." That's what you're saying.
Yep.
Trigger warning.
Good. It's not great.
Well, over in Bat Spider, they use that word all the time. It's like,
that's their term of affection for each other.
Anyway, Gypsy, she has this story about 10 years ago. I was 16 and I hooked up with Boss Man because I thought it'd be exciting to live with a gangster. Now maybe I like you. I don't know.
And also, they're building the relationship between them. And also at this point,
her and Gil, the hero.
Yeah, her and Gil. And also at this point, all the main characters are in the cabin eating, and they have the news on, and they hear about there's the robbery and a guy who got blown up, and like Gil's like, and they're all like, let's change the subject.
Well, he keeps turning the channel.
And every channel, there's just something. Remember, there's that one part where he turns the channel, and there's an episode of Bat and Spider playing, and he goes, no, and he turns it really quick.
Yeah, then they turn on Fibber McGee.
Tim. Oh no! What is he doing?
That show, I don't know.
A lot of million-dollar ideas
Tim.
in his time. Some of them
Anyway,
what the fuck is this?
I'm gonna cut that out.
We're trying to get you have to keep that in. You have to keep that in.
That makes no
We're
sense.
trying to get people to listen to our show. I know. So you pull the oldest reference in the world. You pulled an old radio show.
And
Well,
Molly.
don't act like that's the thing people know. Let me look at. Okay, folks.
He had a different scheme every week. This week on the show, he found a new invention that would keep Jews and blacks from moving into his neighborhood.
It's
It
a
was the
long
1950s.
time. This ran from 1935 to 1959. So this is the last episode, I guess. Long time husband and wife team radio comedy program. Why do you know this, Tim?
They're famous.
No, Tim.
You know the joke when you open the closet and everything falls on you? He originated that. You know the joke where you sit down and you hear a fart sound? You're like, what? Did I fart? And you get up and it's a whoopee cushion. He originated that.
You know, Bat and Spider do that without a whoopee cushion.
I know, every week.
They just sit down and let them rip. All right. So, God, that sucks, Tim. I can't believe.
There's more skiing, George. By the way, there's some more skiing, and I have some more terms.
All right, let's hear more terms, Tim.
Did you ever hear the peg leg in skiing?
The worst
slang?
episode ever. No, what is it?
It's when you ski into a wood chipper.
Okay, wow.
The chili,
Very Fargo. All right.
the chili nipple.
Isn't that a non-alcoholic drink?
No, that's when you wipe out in a farmer's field and your face smacks right into a cow's udder.
Okay.
And
That is a chili nipple.
How about the Hoth? You know the Hoth?
That's when the tauntaun you're riding on dies, and then you cut it open, and it smells bad on the outside?
Close. When you get lost
Okay.
in the snowstorm while skiing and you have to slice open your tauntaun to keep warm inside his guts. Yeah?
Man, if it were for Star Wars, you wouldn't have a single reference that happened in this century.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Hey, it's the greatest movie ever. Come on.
Right. That's actually Empire, though.
So the beast.
At some point, I always want to say Bill and Mustache get into a fight. Like, they actually throw punches.
Well, because he kisses
and then he
Gypsy,
punches.
right? Gypsy
Does
and her.
he? I thought he didn't kiss her till later.
Well, they're dancing, holding each other, at least.
Okay, then Bill punches Mustache. No, Gil punches Mustache, and then he punches Sinatra's cousin.
It knocks them all
and then
out.
the guy, and then head injury guy pulls out a gun.
Yep.
And then Mustache guy's like, "She's my property." And he viciously slaps Gypsy, which was uncool.
Oh, yeah.
And Gypsy goes outside, and then Bill leaves to go talk to her. And then the remaining goons are like, "Good thing we're gonna kill him."
Yes.
That's part of the plan.
So why you thought Goofy Guy had head injuries? He kind of likes Small Dove, and he's in the kitchen.
That's not why I thought he had a head injury.
Well, he's trying to impress her in the kitchen. He's like pouring flour, and it spills, and he pours milk, and it spills, and he looks at her all nervous. I think that's they're trying to say he likes her, and he's nervous.
Okay, he definitely likes her. We know that.
And
Yeah.
he drops all his stuff and runs away.
Yeah.
So
And then Sinatra goes outside, I guess, to check on where Gil and Gypsy are, and the creature attacks him. And for the first time, we kind of see it's a spider leg.
yeah, it's
But he lives. And then they announce a big storm's coming, and I wrote, of course, because these movies there's always a big storm coming.
and Gil Gil knows the land. This is his cabin.
Yep.
He could have gotten away at any time. He didn't
It's
seem
weird
to care
he
about
doesn't.
Gypsy. He could have sent Small
And even
Dove to get
Gypsy
help.
tells him the plan. She's like, they're going to kill you and fly out in the morning. He's like,
I know.
Yep.
Yes. I said he's boring. They ask him what he does up here in the cabin. He says, I just read the encyclopedia, open a page, learn everything there is to learn. I did go to San Francisco once, and then I learned everything there was to learn about the world and just came back here. That was Gil. And he smokes.
Is that a real line? Is it a real line?
You don't remember that?
No.
He says he reads the encyclopedia for fun. All right.
And why San Francisco?
I don't know. He learned everything about the world there.
Do you think he's really into sourdough bread?
Yes, I think that's what it was.
All right. So there's a weird bit. I wrote Gypsy kind of confronts Mustache, and there's this whole conversation where he keeps saying he'll pick the bones of 1,000 boobs.
Yes, I wrote that down.
And I wrote down, that's really funny because, Tim, I don't know if you know this, but boobs don't have bones in them.
I know. I was confused.
Yeah. If you are someone who has a boob or has access to a boob and you feel a bone in there, you should probably get that checked out.
So that means Bat and Spider don't call in because they never touch a boob. They haven't touched a boob in 20 years.
At least 20 years ago, they got to touch a boob. Tim, I think we're getting good at this. I think they're going to come at us swinging. They're going to come at us so mad. They're going to bring such of that sleepy energy right at our face. So he's going to pick the bones of 1,000 boobs. Basically what that is a reference to, she's like, is it right that we killed all these guys? She's like, we killed one guy. She's like, yeah, but still, blah, 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 blah.
And I will say, it's still pretty padded and boring.
Yeah,
no
it's
sense
just
of
a lot of
urgency.
Conversations. She goes outside again and with Gil again.
It's chopping wood.
And Mustache is like, hey, head injury guy, go out there and follow them. And he goes out and the housekeeper is trying to stop him or something. She's out there too.
No.
And then suddenly the spider legs attack both of them.
No, he sees it and he grabs her, brings her with him. And of course, she's holding a tomahawk. I don't know if you caught that.
I did not.
They were both going to go fight this monster, and he threw fire on it.
Now, yeah, it's actually kind of cool shot. He's like has like a shovel of something on fire and throws it. But so meanwhile, Gypsy and Gil miss this whole thing. They go out on their skis. They're like, well, let's go tell the cops. Yeah.
Oh, they were gonna run away. Which I was like, why didn't you do this? Yeah.
Why didn't they do it before?
They use some skiing terms
kiss
while they're skiing. Oh, they kiss.
Oh, yeah. Is there a term for kissing while skiing?
No.
They
do some other ones. There's the George Washington. This is a ski
that's
term.
That's when you have teeth made of hippo ivory.
No,
you own enslaved people.
No, the George Washington is when you wipe out because you lost your concentration, wondering about that one slave that got away and you never caught.
Pretty close to what I said. Sorry, I ruined your joke.
There's the geen.
The geen. Oh,
that's when you ski every day all winter.
That's when you take a frozen nipple.
Wow. That's when you ski every day all winter because the ground is too frozen to dig up dead ladies.
That reminds you of your mother.
Yes.
Of course. Yes.
Then there's the Elon. That's when you fall awkwardly and give what looks like a Nazi salute, and you tell everyone it wasn't an accident. You meant to do that. Yeah, there's Elon.
Elon. Yay. They do kiss at this point. Well, the Elon.
They exchange a cigarette again. He's had one in his mouth the whole time.
Yeah, he pulls it out of her ear when they're kissing. It's weird. So now we go back to the house, and now the goons know that the monster is real. They finally believe Frank Sinatra's cousin because the other, like, I don't know where the housekeeper is. I wrote I guess she's dead, but we do see her later. And there's a bit where Frank Sinatra's cousin hypothesizes the monster has been there for millions of years in an egg.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't care. Yeah. But then they realize, Gypsy and Gil are heading out to tell them we got to get him. But a blizzard's coming. And Gil's like, oh, wait, we're back there. Yeah.
You going to say it?
Oh, I know a haunted cave near here. I'm like, titular line. Well, at the same time, Sinatra is he says, I followed the quote-unquote cougar to a cave near here. I'm like, it's a race to the cave.
What's this?
And what I didn't realize is while all this was happening, head injury grabs the tomahawk and he heads out without them because he wants to save Little Dove.
Yep. Small Dove. That's offensive, George. Yeah, so it's a race to Cougar Cave or Haunted Cave. It seems to be a naming dispute.
Haunted Cave, yes. And the Cougar Cave is because he kept pretending this thing was a cougar. He knew it was a monster. Frank Sinatra's cousin isn't easily fooled. So head injury gets there first.
But you know why Gil knew about this cave? Because Gil's such a boring guy.
Why?
It's where he hides
his Playboys.
His May 1956 issue of Playboy with Miss Lavender Gold.
Is that the real woman who was in this episode?
Nope, I couldn't find her.
Oh. What's her name again? I'm going to look her up right now.
Lavender Gold.
No, the real woman.
No.
I don't care about your fake person. Your fake dumb Playboy.
Her favorite activity, George. Baking in the 50s, baking bundt cakes for her friends using Teflon lined molds, monosodium glutamate, yellow dye number 2 and 3, and red dye number 9. Her turn-ons, showing her friends how to keep their gardens pest-free using DDT pesticides.
Oh, boy. And her something about thalidomide coming up.
Her jobs she had before modeling, selling popular makeup kits with the magic ingredients known as lead and mercury to her friends.
This is grim.
Her turn-offs, going to funerals once a month. That's
no connection. These are good, Tim.
What?
You're doing good this week. I feel like a little fire, a little fire in your heart, like a little fighting with spat and spiders, doing well for you.
Yeah. Now that we have an enemy.
Yeah. Those jerks.
Soon to be enemy.
There are enemies
once they
now.
hear this.
Once they hear this, they're going to just beg for forgiveness. All right. So head injury guy's running around with a tomahawk in there. He finds both the housekeeper,
Small Dove got captured, and the girl
and Natalie are in there, cocooned
like an aliens. Now,
it's exactly like Alien. Like they're balloon. I'm like, oh, we're watching Alien.
Yep.
It's interesting too because that means the beast like basically carries around a cocoon Natalie wherever it goes.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Because it catches her in the mine first, right?
Yep.
And it webs her up to a tree outside of their quote unquote camp, and then it has her in this, which this is a different cave. Just carries her around.
Yeah.
And he's talking to me. He's like, I'm going to save you, little dove, or small dove, or tiny dove, whatever her name is. And he's like, oh, there's another woman. Is she alive? She goes, she is, but her brain's gone. And then the monster comes in and sucks Natalie's blood.
Yeah.
And then I guess it eats them all. I don't know. It's kind of vague.
It seems to suck their blood, and the head gangster shows up. He said we should mention, and head injury guy gets webbed up too. Because then the Marty and the head gangster boss man, they come and they grab Gypsy and she's gonna show them where.
Oh yeah,
Gil
we should
is.
mention Gypsy and Gil arrive too. We left out that important thing. They arrive.
They're all in the cave. They're all
Gypsy's throwing rocks at the monster. Gil's shooting at the monster. The monster looks kind of like it honestly looks like a woman wearing a bridal veil that's made of spider webs, and it has like 2 long spider legs.
Or more. I don't know.
Or more. There's 2 you could definitely see. It doesn't seem that impressive, but it was kind of creepy. Like
when they sped up
I
the
like
film.
that it didn't look like a big. Did they?
I thought
that's
they
actually
did.
a good touch.
I thought
maybe it looked kind of cool. Like it did look like it had like this weird bride quality to it. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
Yep. And then Mustache and Marty show up.
Marty has a flamethrower. They kind of foreshadowed that earlier.
Oh, that's why that happens.
A flare. Yeah, earlier
I didn't understand this bit that came up.
They wanted to use the flare to show the airplane were to land to pick them up with gold. So they had a flare.
Tim, is this a good screenplay?
No, it's not. It's not. because they set it on fire, kill it. Gil and Gypsy, the only survivors. Gil and
Tim using his reckless use of pronouns.
I'm saying Gil and Gypsy.
You said they do. Like,
everyone
Mustache guy gets stabbed by a thing.
Yes.
Marty gets stabbed by a thing. There's a huge explosion. The monster gets killed. And then
they walk away. They don't even check.
They don't even walk away. The movie just fucking ends so abruptly. I've never, I know it was the thing in the 50s to end your movie pretty shortly after, like, the big scene. Like, it's literally like there's this explosion, which I didn't catch the flare bit. So I'm like, why do they explode? The monster screams. You see a far shot of it burning. And then you cut to like Gypsy and Gil who like kind of look at each other, and this is the end.
But they did walk away. So it's like, you're not going to check on anybody? They're hanging on the wall.
I mean, honestly, Natalie was alive up until a few seconds ago. And the housekeeper, I don't even think the monster sucks her blood.
Nope.
Like, maybe head injury guy's dead, but like, there's definitely people who are still alive. All right, the end.
I was pretty bored, except it was a tough one. Tough. Watching this movie. I did not enjoy it. I thought I would.
Oh, I weirdly kind of enjoyed it.
Yep. Just like what I say every week after I hear Bat and Spider. Thought I'd enjoy it. Didn't like it.
I am looking forward to us all doing the same episode. Bat and Spider, write to us at Seddy Bimco, the E at the end of gmail.com. Remember, I said nicer things about you, even though I'm the one driving this whole fight.
What we like to do now,
yep,
I do, is tell how this movie's like Star Wars.
Okay, go for it, Tim. How is this movie like Star Wars? Yep.
Couple of things. This movie really didn't have a sequel planned.
Yeah, I saw this.
And in the sequel...
About what happens to the characters after they turn around in the cave.
Yep. It was to be revealed that Gil and Gypsy were brother and sister.
That's hot.
It also was revealed later that Goofy Guy and Small Dove, they were brother and sister.
Oh, that's...
And Marty and that barmaid Natalie that went to the cave to make out. Well,
brother and sister?
She believed in the Force, and Marty was Jewish, so it was never going to work out.
So he was circumcised.
Yeah. Not going to work out.
Yep.
Go.
And Mustache Guy was actually their father.
Yes. Could have been.
But there was still good in him. But they cut him open. He smelled bad, and that's it. All right. And I like to say, because, like, fuck all the Star Wars shit. I always like to compare this to how this movie is like 1987's Labyrinth, directed by Jim Henson.
Which I've never seen.
State-of-the-art creature effects. Mm-hmm. Yep. Jim Henson's Creature Shop made some of the most realistic, fictional, like, puppetry creatures. Like, you watch this movie, you're like, shit, how did they pull that off? How is that not real? And this movie also did.
Okay, I'll accept it.
Yep. Okay. All right. Revenge.
You are wherever you're hiding. I'll find you.
Revenge. One of us will die.
I feel like recently, Tim, listening to episodes, I feel like you've been doing your revenge first a lot.
Okay.
Can I do my revenge first? No. Just that I don't think anybody ever hears mine because I think everybody turns off the episode before they get to mine.
We should take turns.
We should. Maybe we should set like a thing where it's
we
like...
should have a competition.
How
Who goes first? We'll think of something.
I think it should be like maybe the person who chooses the movie because they're like, quote unquote, the host. They go second.
Okay.
And then, so I'm just going to go because I actually have nothing.
Host.
I'll be honest. I have nothing.
A good host.
This is my revenge, right? It actually plays what we were just talking about. So the movie, there really was going to be a sequel that was supposed to continue the adventures of this.
Hold on.
Oh, play that music.
Hold on. We'll play this music.
All right. So the sequel picks up seconds after the end of Beast from Haunted Cave. Gypsy and Gil walk out of the cave. They're immediately frozen solid by the blizzard, which is coming. We totally forgot about that part.
That's right.
That's just the end. And meanwhile, because they just got confused, you know, when you see like a giant spider bride
did
person,
they lay down to camp out in the snow? Is that what happened?
Yeah, they thought it worked. They thought camping worked. Turns out they're all idiots. But unfortunately, the housekeeper, she's like, wait, what? Y'all just, what? You're just leaving me here? So she's stuck there in this cave, which gets snowed in.
Oh, no.
And the only thing there is the corpse of Natalie, because I decided Natalie died. There's the corpse of head injury guy, because I decided he died. She's okay. There's the crispy corpse of the beast. And then there's the crispy corpses of the other two guys, right?
The two gangsters.
The two gangsters. And she's like, well, I'm stuck here. So she tries to get out. She finally breaks loose of the web. Turns out this web is very much like Spider-Man's web. It disintegrates after a certain amount of period of time. So she's able to get loose, but she's snowed in already. And she just doesn't know how to get out. So she's stuck there for like, it's a bad blizzard. She's stuck there for weeks.
Can't she set Gil and Gypsy's bodies on fire to burn?
No, they already burnt. Okay. They're already Tim.
Gil and Gypsy? I thought they went to sleep in
the
snow.
Gil and Gypsy went outside and got frozen in snow. She's trapped inside the cave. She doesn't know. They could only be 6 feet away from her. She'll never know. They're buried in the snow. But she's in there. But like, luckily, you did mention this. There's already some perfectly cooked bodies here. So she's able to,
This is racist.
Well, is it? She just happens to be the one who survives.
Yes.
Tell you what.
Is she a soccer player too? Was she on a soccer team?
You know what? Here, wait, to make it less racist, head injury guy survived too.
Okay.
She starts eating him. He's like, wait, I'm awake. But they together, the two of them skeletonize the bodies that are in.
Okay.
And here's the thing.
What?
One of those bodies, let's say Natalie, turns out she was really from Canada, which means she had latent Wendigo in her.
Oh, God.
When they eat her, they're transformed into Wendigos.
Thought you're
It gets fucked up from here. So they go out, they break out, right? Because now they're super strong. They like just like Marvel Comics,
Mm-hmm.
and they travel across South Dakota, which they go up into Canada, right?
Okay.
And they're there, and they get in a fight with the Hulk, and they get in a fight with Wolverine, and they're gonna eat these campers one day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just then, well, they're not just random campers. They think that they're Gil and Gypsy.
Oh, really?
And they're going to get revenge for leaving her there, right?
Okay.
And then suddenly she feels this weird pain in her chest. This is Small Dove, the Wendigo.
Uh-huh.
And this is a surprise. This is the climax of the film. Her chest kind of erupts outward.
Okay.
And this chest burster comes out. Because this movie just was like Aliens. And so now it's like a chest burster Wendigo alien. And then the movie ends abruptly and says, the end.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
You know, I liked it when they became cannibals. I was like, this is going somewhere.
That was good somewhere.
Then had to be fucking Marvel comic again.
No. Wendigo is an acceptable part of Native American folklore. When I say fought Wolverine, I actually meant the animal. It fought a Wolverine. And when I said Hulk, I actually meant a sunken boat.
Just for that, I'm going to read my story with the music from Confederate Corpses.
Good.
Yeah, just for that, I'm going to read my story. I wasn't going to this week. I thought, it's too cruel. So Gil and Gypsy, they go back to the cabin after the end of this movie. And Gypsy wanted to live this nice, simple life. She was kind of tired of the gangster life.
Uh-huh.
But Gil, as we said, he smokes a pipe and he reads his encyclopedias. Right?
That he smokes a pipe, which makes him a bad person.
Boring. And Gypsy,
Is that true? Is everyone who smokes a pipe boring?
Come on. Except for Sherlock Holmes. He's pretty excited.
Reed Richards. He smokes pipes.
He's boring. So Gypsy.
All right. Mm-hmm.
She's excited to make some martinis and play some rockin' Elvis records. But Gil, as I said, he's boring. Very boring. And
he is named after part of a fish.
Yes, Gil.
Yep.
And what he does as a hobby is he writes new entries into the encyclopedia, and he wants Gypsy to hear some of these.
Uh-huh.
Gypsy says, okay. He sat down with her martini. Gil says, I've done a lot of researches. I've done lots of research.
Gil sounds like Gil does a lot of his own research.
On beards and large mustaches.
Which we should mention, he does not have.
Nope, this is the 50s. If you had a beard or mustache, you were evil.
Yeah, like mustache.
So, so he says, for instance, I have these entries. Mark Twain and Leo Tolstoy.
Both mustachioed.
They often enjoyed playing tiddlywinks until Twain became irritated with all the winks getting stuck or lost in Leo's beard. Although
I think I say Leo's tiddly.
Although to hear angry Tolstoy tell it, most of the winks were lost in Twain's mustache.
Yep. Glad I went first.
And Gypsy starts to get up. He's like, no, sit down. I got this other entry. John Muir swore to his wife, Louisa, that he would...
Are we talking John Muir, the famous conservationist?
Uh-huh.
Are you assuming people know who that is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because they graduated from Bat and Spider to our high level of intellect here.
I'm going to guess that most people don't graduate from Bat and Spider. That's why we have two listeners. Okay.
They always fail. Always held back.
They flunk out.
Well, John Muir, he swore to his wife, Louisa, that he would only play pinochle with Karl Marx and not that highly suggestive game, badminton. But when Louisa checked on the sleeping John Muir later, she often found many a telltale shuttlecock in his beard.
Shuttlecock.
That's what you used to play badminton.
Yeah, I know.
At this point, Gypsy tried to get up. He says, shh, I'm talking, sit down. He says, Marie Curie and Andrew Carnegie, they gave up having...
Marie Curie famously had a mustache.
Yes.
Yeah.
They gave up having tea and biscuits over games of Monopoly with Peter Cooper because Peter would fling the whole game onto the floor, not because he was angry, but because he was deathly afraid of getting biscuits in his beard.
Who's Peter Cooper?
He's a rich guy from that age.
Is he the Cooper Union guy?
Yes, Cooper Union.
All right.
They had many payroll offices across the country, and they stocked them with gold bars. Yep, there you go.
Because I thought you were talking Peter Cooper, the contemporary cartoonist,
Nope.
who last time I saw him was clean shaven.
You know,
And, yeah, okay, go on.
nobody wanted to play checkers with Karl Marx, as he often flung the whole game onto the floor, not because he was angry about losing, but because he was deathly afraid of getting biscuits in his beard. So Gypsy's trying to get up and run away. Well, this is about beards and mustaches. Eleanor Roosevelt never played Twister.
When does this get in?
With Gregor Rasputin. After the time, he got right foot blue, and many of the stuffed olives he hid in his beard fell into her backless blouse. So Gypsy says, please, I can't take it, just like George. And Gil says, shh, quiet. Stop running your mouth.
Gil, learn to listen.
He's got one more. Most people gave up playing Hungry Hungry Hippos with Walt Whitman because his beard often got eaten by more than one hippo, bringing the game to an abrupt halt. So at this point, these are about revenge, right, George? Well, at this point,
I don't even know what's happening
something
anymore.
special happened to Gypsy as she sat here bored out of her mind listening to mustache and beard historical facts. She realized fate had got revenge on her. She spent her life turning to different men to define what her happiness should be. And fate was telling her she had to get up, walk out of this cabin, and find her own happiness and not depend on men.
How affirmative. That's the end?
Yeah, she went up and made her own life. Gil stayed behind smoking his pipe.
That's a more abrupt ending than the movie actually had. What's this movie called, Tim?
The beard from Haunted Cave.
Well, we certainly are an excellent podcast, aren't we?
We are.
Yep.
We're down to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
listeners?
10 states.
Oh.
10 states.
Oh. Wait, we still have that many?
Yeah, we do.
Wow, I thought we were down lower than that.
And next week,
we're going to start our new 52 book series, Playing Cards. Movies about specific playing cards.
Yes.
It's going to get pretty grim after the aces.
Write us at Seddy Bimco with an E at gmail.com. You can follow us on Threads. You can talk to us there. There's a website. There's a blog.
We have a Discord that we don't know how to access.
There's people in there.
Yeah. Yes. You and Cablasto.
There are people talking to me.
Yeah. Do we have any mail?
Okay, we do have mail.
What?
We do. From
Read it.
Blaine Duncan of the Alabama Take podcast, who we are not at war with.
No, we like them.
Okay. He says, hey guys, I listened to the Evil Knievel episode and I heard you guys ask for messages. So here's one. I am real and I listen. Also, thanks for airing the ad as well as the shout out later. Why am I talking like this? At the end. It means a lot. Blaine Duncan, editor-in-chief of the Alabama Take, which is a group of podcasts. His podcast. His podcast is the Alabama Take. It's a group of podcasts called Takedown. That's backwards. Either one.
I think it's the Alabama Takedown.
Yeah.
We like him so much we don't even know what his podcast is.
That's what it's called.
Yep.
I did it.
I want to say this about Blaine. Thank you so much for writing. Blaine, every time I hear your ad pop up, I always think you have a very thick British accent for a second, which I find very interesting because they often say that there is a lot more connectivity between the British accent and the Southern accent. Mm-hmm. But I enjoy it every time it pops up.
I thought it was the French, like Louisiana.
No, supposedly, and I've heard people do this, like Shakespeare at the time that was written, it was very much like the English accent was very close to what is now the contemporary Southern accent.
Okay.
So if you have somebody with a thick Southern accent read Shakespeare, it sounds awesome.
Yep.
And a lot of the rhymes actually work then, whereas they don't work when you do it. Apparently, from what I've heard, the current British accent that all those limeys say, that's more of a modern invention. It was a highfalutin accent, and with the advent of BBC radio, it became the nationwide accent. But prior to that, they kind of sounded like Alabamians.
I wonder what the hosts of retrospection would think of that.
Tim, I wonder what the hosts of Bat and Spider think of that.
What's that got to do with accents?
Do they have accents? Who could tell?
No.
Yeah. Accents are in the eye of the beholder, Tim. So Tim, I unfortunately am not going to be here next week.
Nope.
And you don't like to wait for me to come back. You replaced me at a second's notice. So what's the movie you and presumably Kevin Kablasto will watch?
Kevin Kablasto already agreed. It's going to come on.
Uh-huh.
We're going to watch what I believe to be another Corman movie from West Virginia, Teenage Strangler. So you missed out on another like 50s, early 60s.
That's kind of a famous one, too.
I think so. I didn't read. I've find it on Tubi. And yes.
And yeah.
Okay. I guess that's it.
Bye, everybody. Yeah, that's it.
This is the end
of Seddy Bimco.
Part of the body you associate with a podcast called Bat and Spider. The end. Okay. Goodbye.
This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line. It's a party line.
You know, Tim, while we've been talking, while you were doing your weird long story, I was looking up things about Lene Alstrand, who played Natalie. I was really trying to find her questions, but I will say her pictures pretty cool.
Two guys talking about ladies' pictures.
Two guys talking about take this part out, take it out.